Some of the greatest words that will ever be said on a Friday. It's a football Friday with Big Sills on the National Football Show. And by the way, we are powered by our friends from BetUS. For the next 4 hours, please hit the like button. Today, truth, justice, and the Big Sills way. Only place you get that. You don't get that any longer anywhere else, especially in Philly. Snowflake Philly Media, how you doing? Welcome aboard. You want some content? This is the place to go. Holy shit, I went trolling around looking for some Philly content. I can't find it. You know why? It sucks. It sucks. What happened to that Krause and Broad thing? That thing, I went over there and thought I was watching The View. Holy shit. It's like a website for The View. Now, this is how we do things here. Nothing about the Joel Embiid assault on Marcus Hayes. Of course not. WIP. Hey, Nikki, how you feeling? Like they're doing seances over there. I'm not even sure 97.5 is still on the air, so I don't even know what the fuck they're doing. But welcome aboard. Welcome aboard on the only place where you get the truth. Hey, I got to tell you something. I really absolutely dig your idiotic coach. You know, I won't lie to you. When I first started covering the Eagles, I had no idea you guys were this interesting. You know, there's that chick in school or in your place of business. She kind of looks like a nerd. Nobody kind of like pays any kind of attention to her. Okay? I mean, nobody. All of a sudden you find out, holy shit, man, there's a personality. Holy shit, she's a little more complex than I thought. Holy shit, she's got a little drama to her. I don't like a ton of drama, but I like some, as you can tell. Hit the like button. God, I love it. And then you get your girlfriend, Nicholas Sirianni. You know what really kills me? I hate that I have to kill this paisan every day. I do. But he just brings it on himself. I've never seen more of an idiot in my life. He just doesn't know when to leave well enough alone. And on top of that, you know what else he doesn't know? Less is more. Less is more. You don't have to be the boys to the media. They do not like you. They have a job to do. They don't like you, Nick. And Nick, you shouldn't like them or trust them. Dude, all the years that I've been doing this, I'm lucky that I have forged these relationships. You know why? Because I was on the other side of the mic. Probably shouldn't show you that. Yeah. Hey, I'm on the other side of the mic. And I've forged some really great relationships. Okay? So Nick Sirianni's at a press conference today, and he tells everybody Hurts has an ankle injury. Or it's bothering him. What am I going to do if I'm Mike Zimmer now? I'm going to blitz the shit out of that guy because I have nothing else to lose. I'm just going to blitz Jalen Hurts. Let's find out if that thing's real. And I'm going to bring pressure on that guy from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. By the way, all Super Chats go to the top. First 15 minutes are some of the most important minutes when it comes to our like button. Please hit it. Thank you. Man, seeing those quarterbacks last night made me jealous. Hang on, I'm getting there. Hey, wait a minute, Abe. An honest mistake? I'm not saying it wasn't. He's an idiot. You have a microphone in front of you. Know your role. Give nothing away. That's like giving troop locations away when you're going into battle. Hey, by the way, I was over there on Omaha Beach. And guess what? My boys were sitting in the foxhole. Hey, man, why should you tell the guy the foxhole location? Oh. Hey, thanks, sir. You just put a target on my ankle. What an idiot. That's your coach. Hey, my quarterback's got an ankle injury. Hey, Mike Zimmer. Hey, Mike. Mike, yeah, did you hear it? Hurts has got a little bit of an ankle injury, so I think we should blitz 70% of the time. Let's bring some complex. Oh, yeah, Parsons is playing? Great. Let's make sure we line him up over a position where let's see if this guy can still read defenses. You ready, Mike? Okay. No. Last week, the Jags got home 3 times. Parsons can get home. Just don't put him on lane. Looks like Velcro. All right. There you go. Hey, Blue Horseshoe says, blitz hurts. That's a reference if you're older like me. Blue Horseshoe says, blitz hurts. What a complete jackass. And by the way, I'm putting Micah Parsons on Frederick Frankenstein Johnson. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm putting Micah Parsons on Frederick Frankenstein Johnson. How you doing? Hey, by the way, the foxhole has 7 soldiers in it, and it's over there on Omaha Beach. Hey, thank you, General Eisenhower. I appreciate it. Holy cow, man. Unbelievable. I could not believe when I heard it. I'm like, he didn't just say that, did he? Yeah, Hurts has an ankle injury. Holy shit. Oh, my God. It doesn't get any better than that. If you're the Cowboys, how many people? I didn't know Hurts was hurt. And leave AJ and Smitty one-on-one. Yet those guys are hurt too. So you got a hurt quarterback and both of your guys. Saquon. Yeah, Zander's trying to fight me on this. Saquon to the rescue. Saquon's the biggest life preserver Hurts has ever had. Because you see, you got to remember one thing about AJ. No matter if you have AJ on the field or not, like you had last year, you don't win games. You ain't winning without that dude. You ain't winning without that dude. You think Sidney Brown takes snaps from CJ? God, you can only hope, Nate. God, you can only hate. That you can only hope that, Nate. By the way, we'll give you our predictions. Cowboys and the injured Eagles going into Arlington, where you haven't won in 6 games, 6 years. Okay. Load management. Those are always good words to hear in the NFL. Yeah. No, not load management. Your quarterback is injured. By the way, wow. Man, I wish the Eagles had a quarterback like those dudes last night. What a fucking freak show that thing was. What a great football game between 2 superstar quarterbacks. By the way, AFC North, divisional game, not uncommon for those games to be close. Just like I told you, since 2000, the Eagles have a 2-game advantage over the Dallas Cowboys. 25 wins, 23 losses. All those games always end up equaling out. They're always close because they're divisional games. And I love that Zach Taylor went for 2. He went for the win. His team needed it. Had to do it. Hit the like button, all. Thank you for coming aboard on this Football Friday. What a spectacular performance last night by Lamar Jackson. I mean, spectacular. Burrow was insane last night. That's quarterbacking 101. Jamar Chase, 264 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns. 11 catches. Insanity. Joe Burrow, 34 of 56, 428 and 4 touchdowns. Lamar Jackson, 25 of 33, 290, 4 touchdowns. And this is when Derrick Henry only had 68 yards rushing. I've never seen a guy play better football than what Lamar's playing right now. Let me give you some context to this. Lamar Jackson is on pace for 4,537 yards. That's the guy you guys predicted. That's going to be 4,600 passing yards. He's never thrown for more than 3,800 yards in his career. Todd Monken's making him a better passer, unlike Kellen Moore with Jalen Hurts. Why is that? Talent level's not there in Philly. And I'm talking at the quarterback position because it's not the perimeter. It's not the perimeter. Todd Monken's doing his job. Your guy's not. You've improved the run game. You're supposed to be improving the passing game, like Monken's improving the passing game in Baltimore. He's on pace. By the way, 41 touchdowns and 3 picks. Do you know he has as many touchdown passes this year in 10 games? He did all of last year when he won the Most Valuable Player award? That guy is insane. You're not beating him. Hey, and I'll make this point. 900 yards rushing. This is by far 123 rating. I've never seen anything like this. That guy is an absolute special player, and I couldn't have been more wrong about this guy. Unfucking believable. And I knew someone was going to bring that. We smoked Cincy. And he almost lost to the Jags. It doesn't work like that, dude. And you almost lost to an even worse team last week in Cincinnati. Or, in Jacksonville. It doesn't work like that. Records don't matter right now also. You think you're better because you have a better record? That fucking means nothing. It didn't a year ago. You won 11 games the same way that Kansas City did, and you were terrible. Means nothing, especially divisional games. Nothing. You add it up at the end, you see who has home field and wins the division. By the way, remember something. Right now, you're sitting in the wild card still. Means nothing. Joe Burrow's on pace for 4,542 yards and 41 touchdowns, 7 picks with a 108. That's how you play the quarterback position. Those two guys there give you a chance to win a Super Bowl. It's just too bad that Joe Burrow plays in Cincinnati, one of the worst cultures in all of pro football. I mean, it's one of the worst cultures of all time. Next to the Jags, I don't think Cincinnati has had a good culture, but maybe 6 years, maybe under Forrest Gregg a little, right? Sam Weiss, maybe a little. Outside of that, the Marvin Lewis era was nowhere. They've never really had a culture, even when Paul Brown owned the team. Okay? I mean, Lamar Jackson, I'm going to make this comment to you. Lamar Jackson is already one of the greatest football players that has ever played the position. Dan Marino didn't win a Super Bowl, and nor did Warren Moon. And I don't need Super Bowls to tell me how great those players were. Lamar Jackson's one of the greatest players I've ever seen play the position. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen anything like it. Sills, Josh says, Super Chats go to the top. Do you think Joe is frustrated in Cincinnati? I think Joe's frustrated with losing. Got to remember something. He went to LSU and he was at Ohio State. He's frustrated with losing. I don't know what the helmet means. It's just the losing. And if the helmet happens to be Cincinnati, he's probably upset with the organization not doing enough, and Duke Tobin doing enough on the defensive side to retool and to cover some of the players that they have missed on that side of the football. I think Tobin's a good general manager, but when it comes to paying people, they don't pay people except the quarterback in Cincinnati. And you got a problem on the defensive side of the football. Okay? I mean, and by the way, he makes $55 million a year. I'm sure that kind of settles it a little bit. But remember, that's a guy that wants to have a legacy in this sport. Joe Burrow's not just doing it for money. I'm not saying money's not part of this, because it is. And it will always be part of this. But I think they missed on allowing a running back with the likes of Joe Mixon to leave. Not that Joe Mixon has had an impact in Houston because he was banged up, but let's not forget something. Even with Jake Browning a year ago, that guy had $1,000 in rushing. And when you take that dynamic out of the offense, just like we said, think about it. Just like we said with Hurts, when you don't have a formidable running back behind the quarterback, your play action, coordinators are not going to believe it if you have some dude that no one respects. There's a reason people look at Philly now. It's the run game. It's not the freaking passing game. The passing game and the receivers are elite. The quarterback's not. He'll never be. He's 20th now. Like I said, too, when I watch Todd Monken on what he's doing with Lamar Jackson, I don't see that with Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts. I don't see that same improvement. And you can't either, unless you're lying. Got a lot of people believing in what they're not watching nowadays, so I kind of get it. I call it deniers. He's throwing to tight ends lined up at wide receiver and no blocking. Drew, he was freaking insane last night. It's a mash unit in Cincinnati, but he overcomes it because he's such a great ball player. Okay? He's such a great ball player. Dude, Lamar Jackson is improving as a passer because of the new coordinator they brought in. How about this? You tell me, Lamar Jackson in 2 years with Todd Monken is going to win 2 consecutive most valuable player awards and improve the quarterback that you're paying $51 million to. Do you think he's doing his freaking job? I do. That guy's one of the best players I've ever seen. I don't need a fucking Super Bowl to have that said to me. Use your eyes. Monken is legit. UJOC. When they went back-to-back, I didn't realize that. John, I don't think Jalen is actually hurt. We already know he could struggle without his top people, and it can be used as an excuse if he doesn't win, just like the knee injury last year. I don't know about that. Hey, Zander, let me know if I missed one before Prince here. Records only matter when it pertains to I already know that this is stupid. You said the total number of teams we've played were shit. Now to fit the narrative. No, I watched 2. Get this, guys. It doesn't matter. Hang on here, Prince. If you're not watching those 2 guys last night and you watch your guy and you come away saying that Hurts is fucking better than those guys, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot. And I'm not going to debate it, Prince. If you come away watching those 2 ball players last night and your guy playing the way he has in the first 8 games and you think your guy's better, I'm not debating you. I'm not debating that. Use your eyeball test, guy. I mean, really, I don't need a fucking record or a Super Bowl to tell me how great those guys were last night. I know what I watched. You must not. Talk about moving the goalpost. How about putting blinders on? How about putting blinders? Hey, by the way, once again, if you walk away telling me that your guy in Philly is better than those 2 guys, you got that. I'm not debating it. I'm not debating it. Look at this guy here. I'll ask you again. Andre, you would take Jalen Hurts over any one of those guys last night, right? I'm not debating that. I am absolutely not debating that. I am not debating that. Wait a minute. On what? On what? I didn't say that the Bengals are better than the Eagles. I didn't say that the Ravens were better than the Eagles. I said those quarterbacks are better than your quarterback. That's not a goalpost move. That's a comment. And if you don't see that, I'm not debating it. Here. You see here? He's great with that opinion because that's how he feels. But it's so far from the truth, and you know it. How about this? Get this. Here, watch this. That just shows you. When I talk to you guys, you're fucking just retarded. I never said that, and I'm an idiot because you're fucking dumb. I said you downplay us. I didn't downplay. I wasn't even talking about the better team. You got all butthurt, Prince. I wasn't talking team. You're talking team. I said those two quarterbacks are sensational. And I knew you guys would tie that in. Jalen's tied to that team. Those two guys are tied to them and who they are. Henry was a non-factor last night. The receivers were okay. Lamar was insane. And if you don't see that, I'm not debating it. I'm talking about, by the way, again, you're tying two different conversations in here. You're tying, by the way, that's a dual threat quarterback. 4,500 yards and 1,000 rushing yards. Yeah. So let me put this right here. Let me get, what's the, okay, so the Ravens are 7-3 now. Let's see. So in the last 2 years, Lamar Jackson has won 29 of 27 ball games too. Okay? Right? And you're 17-9. I don't know. Once again, I'm not debating teams. What narrative changed? I'm talking about two quarterbacks, three quarterbacks. What narrative changed? I said those two quarterbacks are better than anything that's in Philly. And what's the narrative change? What's the narrative change? I wasn't talking about who's a better team. Did you ever hear me say that the Ravens are better than the Eagles here? I never said that. Did you ever hear me say that Cincinnati is a great team? Did you hear me say that? Have you even heard me say anything like, hey, that win against Cincinnati, kind of have to look at it because they shut down those guys and really did a great job. Did you fucking hear me say that? No. Because you know why? You are jumping a narrative that fits your own. I asked you and I told you those two quarterbacks are insane. They're great players. And they're better than the guy in Philly. There's no narrative change. It's a fact. I never at any time said the Ravens are better than Philadelphia. I said what Todd Monken is doing to Lamar Jackson by improving the passing game, and Lamar's passing game is 10 times better than anything Kellen Moore is doing in the passing game with Hurts. And when people go, well, Sills, the receivers have been in and out. This guy's been improving from the first time Monken went in there a year ago because he had no one. Now you're adding more components to him. He's even better. Can you imagine him in Philly? Josh, Lamar Jackson, 25-33, 294 touchdowns, makes Wishbone look foolish. Hey, Josh, I'm not even going to debate it because it makes me look dumb. It just makes me look dumb. Sills, wouldn't you agree that it's easier to develop a dominant running game and a solid passing game utilizing play action than finding an elite quarterback that can pass you out of trouble? I think finding the quarterback, Bob, that passes you out of trouble like Mahomes, I think those guys are very difficult to find. How many times have we said this? Or have you seen this even with Mahomes? I remember a game about 4 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, where I think Mahomes was down 3 scores. Maybe it was in the playoffs to the Titans. And he came back and won that ball game. I mean, last night, you see Joe Burrow, what he did? Joe Burrow and his team They were outstanding. Their defense gave it back. Lamar was down incredibly in that game and came back and threw his team out of trouble. That's the first time I've ever seen Lamar Jackson throw his team out of trouble like that and come back and win in a divisional game. All right, basically Jalen can't do what they do or what they do. That was elite passing quarterbacking last night. With less, that's why I went back and forth. Simple. Hey, John, listen, I get what you're saying. I'm not suggesting, hey, listen, John, if Brock Purdy can get to a Super Bowl and almost win it, I'm not saying Jalen Hurts can't. What happens is when you have a comment and you say something like that was elite passing last night, those are elite passers. And you make the point, Hurts is not an elite passer. And Lamar Jackson is becoming an elite passer. And why is that? Because Monken is improving him. Has Kellen, get this, let's do this. Has Kellen Moore improved Jalen Hurts' passing since he's been here? Jalen outplayed Burrow. No, he didn't. Jalen had a better game against a shitty Bengals defense. They don't play against one another. Joe Burrow doesn't play corner. The defense had a great game against Joe Burrow. They did. I wasn't fucking talking about that, Prince. You're having an argument with your fucking self, Prince. That wasn't what I said. I said those two quarterbacks last night showed you what quarterbacking is and how you throw in the passing game, and you have nothing like that in Philly. You're talking to yourself here. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. You're having a completely different conversation with yourself, and I'm not even talking about that. I mean, honestly, I said that those two quarterbacks, that's how you play the position. I have never, ever, at the beginning of this show at all said that the Ravens and the Bengals were fucking better than you. I didn't even talk team. I talked quarterback, and you got butthurt. Suck it up. You remind me of people moaning right now. Hurts can't shine these guys' shoes, but Hurts does need to be better than those two with our offense roster. Yes. Year 2 Monken also helps Lamar's development. Hey, podcast. That's kind of where I was going here. Think about it. Look at what Todd Monken has done. Would we not agree? I'm going to show you this here. Okay? I don't fucking care what you guys. I mean, listen, your guy's not in those guys' leagues. Suck it up and deal with it. Just suck it up and deal with it. Hey, because you don't have a quarterback as good as those guys, that's what it is, dog. Lamar Jackson stats. I'm going to show you something here. I'm going to make a point to you. Here's Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson's passing. And by the way, in 17, I believe, no, 19, he won the MVP award. 3,121 yards with 36 touchdowns and 6 picks. 27 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, 9 picks. His touchdown to interception ratio has always been great. 22-42, he got hurt. He missed some ball games. 17-7, 36. That's a lot for him. That was a year ago where he won the most valuable player award. His second, 24 touchdowns and 7. Look at what Todd Monken has done to Lamar Jackson in the 2 years he's been there. He now has as many touchdown passes and less interceptions with 2. And he's on pace right now for 4,600 passing yards. And his team is 7-3. You're going to try to tell me that Todd Monken is not making an impact in Lamar Jackson's passing game? You're out of your minds. Moore has been here for less than a year. Hurts has the best completion percentage of his career under Moore. Better decision making. He is getting better. He is getting better. But I will tell you once again, last year, Lamar Jackson won the Most Valuable Player award. You think Hurts is going to go for 24 touchdowns, 7 picks, and win the Most Valuable Player award? The way that guy's playing, never happened. And by the way, that guy's the engine on that team. They're winning ball games because of him. You're winning ball games because of Barkley and him. Last night, Henry wasn't a factor. Really, nobody in the passing game last night was a factor. It was Lamar. Now, I think that tight end is outstanding that they have. And but look at these numbers here. And by the way, who's Taylor Wallace? Here's where the receivers last night that Lamar Jackson was throwing to. Can you tell me if they're in their conversation with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown? Taylor Wallace, Mark Andrews, okay, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, 4 catches, 34 yards. These guys are dudes. They're dudes. Why do you guys argue with Sills? He will downplay the Eagles no matter what. Not downplaying it. Get this. Did I downplay anything? I said those two guys is what the quarterback position looks like. Downplay? I don't have to downplay. Use your fucking eyes, Anthony. Downplay? What am I downplaying? Facts? What are you talking about? Downplaying what? What am I downplaying? Anthony, I'll ask you, would you really take Jalen Hurts over any one of those guys you watched last night? Would you really do that? Would you take Hurts over any one of those players last night, especially Lamar? Would you do that? I want to hear you because now I'll know what kind of brain cell you have. Would you really do it? That's a great point. Coal Mine Farms? I didn't ask you that, Ant. Would you take any one of those guys last night over Hurts? Answer the question, and I'll know who you guys, and I'll know your brain cells. Who would take Hurts over any one of those quarterbacks last night? Who? And by the way, do you guys really think that that's a diss on Jalen? Do you think that's a diss on him? Those guys are spectacular. They're spectacular. But you're still winning. You're missing my point again, though. Okay? You're missing my point. In the 2 years that Todd Monken has been with Lamar Jackson is advancing in the passing game faster than Hurts. Last year, Hurts was a train wreck towards the end of the year. Lamar won the Most Valuable Player award with nobody on the team. This year, they've added components. He's getting better. No. See, I want to show you something. This is why a guy like this has no idea what we even talk about. And we're so far over his fucking head. He has no idea. I'm talking about coaching, dickhead. Not just the quarterback play. I'm talking, and Jalen's been in the league 5 years and starting 4 of them. Dude, this is coaching. Coaching. The only thing that has improved from last year has the fact that they've had him throw less and the turnovers have come down. Last night, Lamar was asked to throw more. You're missing the point. I didn't think this conversation would go well for you guys because you know why? You really don't understand the game because you see the game through the fans' lens and you don't really see what's going on at one place in Baltimore. You just don't see it. You don't see the advancements that Baltimore is making with the education and the developing of the quarterback in Baltimore. Is that because he's had multiple years now with Todd? For sure. This is part of the problem that I say to you all the time that Hurts will always run into in Philly, is that he's never going to have continuity at that position of offensive coordinator. Look at what 2 years has done for him. Look at the advancement of a dual threat quarterback in the passing game, and you're enhancing his passing game because you're putting quality coaching around him and you're keeping that quality coaching around him. But this conversation goes way over your heads. And I get it. And I hate talking down to people. I like talking to them, not at them. And you just don't get it. You're not seeing it. The only thing that has been proved from last year's team to this year's offense has been the fact that had him throw less, he's protected the ball, and your running game's improved again. That's it. Now, look, if you had a coordinator, hey, by the way, just so you guys will feel better about yourself, do I think that if Jalen Hurts, hey, Spike, let me say this to you. Spike, if Jalen Hurts had an offensive coordinator 2 years in a row, would he be showing the same advancements that Lamar? Probably. Probably. We're a delusional and loyal bunch. You're not wrong. Josh, I love you. That's a good, thank you. Burrow and Jackson are better. However, Hurts is better than you give him credit for. He has led his team to the playoffs every year he's has a starter. He's 2-3. But you're right. Joan, thank you very much. By the way, super chats go to the top, and I thank you. Picture this, people say Allen, Lamar, Burrow does nothing in the playoffs because they lose to Mahomes. Meanwhile, Hurts beat the Giants team in a San Francisco with no quarterback and lose to that exact guy. I understand what you're saying. John, the point that I'm trying to make here, though, is the only time – hey, let me ask you guys something. The biggest advancement that Jalen Hurts has ever had was under who? Shane Steichen? Do you think there's any coincidence he had him for a year and a half as his coordinator, and that's where you saw his gigantic leap? Can you imagine if you kept a guy in place like Todd Monken for 2 years on where Hurts would be right now? He might be next to what that guy's doing. Instead of having to sit here and watch first four games of the season be a little bumpy because they're getting down with communication, and you still have Nick parachuting in with those shitty, stupid-ass calls that contradict a little bit of what Kellen's doing. Can you imagine if you had more continuity at that position of coordinator on what he might look like? Get this, Spike goes, it's week 8. It's week 8, and Lamar Jackson looks like something I've never seen out of a space-age quarterback. I've never seen anything like this. And that guy is going to be a head football coach. Monken is getting a job as a head football coach. More likely to happen, a Lamar Super Bowl or Jalen MVP. That guy plays like that, he'll beat everyone. He'll beat everyone. He'll beat everyone. I mean, again, that's how you played a position of quarterback last night. Once again. Hey, by the way, here, do I have to give you guys reach arounds to make you feel better about yourself? Because it looks like I do. Because some of you are butthurt. So let me give you one reach around. I'll give you one reach around to make you feel better about yourselves. Okay, honeys? All right. That win against Cincinnati does look good. There, you feel better? Huh? And the defense. Okay. You'd have let me get there. I'd have told you that. But you can't because you moan and cry because you're so protective of your guy. Fuck that. Okay, blame the coaching, not Jalen. And no, dude, Jalen is part of the extension of the coaching, as Lamar is. I'm not blaming Jalen for anything. You're missing the point. There's no blame here. It's player development. My God, it's not. I mean, what are you missing here? Zander, I missed the super chat. You guys are you're missing it. So if Hurts was in Baltimore, are you saying that he would perform better due to the coaching? Hello? Hello? It's not about the talent around him. It's about the coaching around him. Ask Mahomes. This can't be this hard to really connect with you on this. The Eagles, it's not about developing Hurts with putting more talent around him. It's about developing the quarterback like they are in KC and Baltimore because of coaching. My God. You think because you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, this guy's going to be a superstar quarterback. That's not the case. You need continuity. Look at this. Monken is now 2 years in a row and going to give him 2 MVPs. And you got Kansas City with Andy Reid with Mahomes developing the guy who's been there for 7 years, working on a 3rd straight championship and a 4th Super Bowl. You don't think there's any continuity to that? I knew you'd miss this point. Okay, I knew you would miss this point. Get this. Spike, if this is too much for you, I'm sure there's dickhead shows you can go to follow. Okay? I'm sure there are. Here, senor. Sills had a point to all this. Yeah. If Jalen would have been getting the better coaching on what we saw and what we're watching with Lamar Jackson, and you had continuity at that position and not your front office fucking him over, he might look like that. There's your point. Okay? Is that easier for you? There you go. Hopefully you can digest that. Hopefully you can digest that. That's what I'm saying. Okay? There you go. I know we have to dumb it down. Like we have to dumb some of the offenses down for people. So we dumb that down to Senor. Okay? Okay? We just dumbed it down for him. Made it simple. Y'all need to understand Hurts is not on their passing level or development. Y'all need to understand that Hurts is a really good football player. Absolutely true. Elite football player, but not an elite passer. Manny, thank you. I mean, I guess there are folks in here that get that. Okay? By the way, once again, that's this stupid shit here. Do you actually really need, look at this stupid shit here, this stuff here. Do you really need to look at Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and go like this? They've not been to a Super Bowl and go, those two guys are some of the greatest players ever to play. Did you need to say that with Marino? Did you need to say that with Marino? Or with Warren Moon? Or Kelly? You didn't need to say that. I mean, if Jalen would still have Shane, his improvement would be remarkable and definitely more progressive. Yes, changing coordinators every year will not benefit any player, especially a $50 million quarterback. Brandon, that's as simple as you can say it. And that's all I took away from last night's game was watching how Lamar Jackson's development, because they kept one guy intact. I'm wondering if Hurts would be in the same building, and I think he would. Don't you remember in the beginning of the offseason, he was even saying how much he wished he had one guy talking in his ear the whole time. I'm not debating that stuff because it's on display. Your guy has wobbled, and he's playing better ball the last 4 weeks because he's been asked to do less. That's okay because he's being asked to do more in the run game. Do you find it a coincidence that they're resting him? They're not resting any of those quarterbacks. They might rest Lamar because Lamar has to run because he's dual threat. But he's developing in the passing game. How many passing yards did he actually have? Rushing yards. This is incredible. He had 33. He had 7 carries for 33. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. By the way, Dan, all about ifs? That's not an if. Those are facts. Todd Monken's development of Lamar Jackson is on display. He's making him a better passer every year he's been there. Kellen Moore has yet to do this. And they're micro steps in Philly versus leaps in Baltimore. You missed the point completely. Completely missed the point. Completely missed the point. Almost all of you missed that point. Why don't the Eagles keep Nick off the press so this guy can get something genuine to talk about? I'm not sure what the fuck that meant. Why don't you get a football coach that doesn't dissolve or reveal team injuries? You might want to start there too. What a dickhead that was. His development has been remarkable. Lamar ran only when he had to. Best decision-making of his career thus far. Eagle, I can't believe what I'm watching. Okay? I can't believe what I'm seeing. Spike, you're finished for the day. Sills, the other thing that Monken did to help LJ develop was approach. Yes. Lamar Jackson has long-term project. I thought he was going to be too. He knew it. It wouldn't be overnight. He brought LJ along slowly, and he's built his trust. Boy, I'll tell you what. If you're Baltimore, do you let that guy walk out the building with what that guy has done with that coach? Man, what a tough thing that's going to be for Baltimore. Hey, by the way, you want to fire Nick for that guy and bring that fucker down to Philadelphia? I am all for that. Hey, let me ask you this. Would you take Todd Monken instead of Nick Sirianni right now? Let's take this one here. Let's take it another step. And let's finish the topic here before I get into Cowboy and Eagle Week. If you could fire Nick Sirianni at the end of the year and you're watching what that guy's doing up there with Lamar Jackson, that dual threat guy, would you fire Nick and put that guy in the building for him? Would you? Look at this guy. No. Why wouldn't you, Steve? Why wouldn't you want Todd Monken coaching Jalen Hurts as your play calling head football coach? Why wouldn't you want that? He'd be a play calling head coach, like Chris Long says, has to be the next hire. You're comfortable with Kellen. He's comfortable with Kellen Moore. What has Kellen Moore done to Jalen Hurts made him a better passer like that guy? What's he done that has improved, that has impressed you? He's under center. He's fixed the turnovers. What? Tell me. What has that guy done that has impressed you? That guy, what he's doing with that ball player, and he's making him a generational player. You're telling me Kellen Moore is making Jalen Hurts a generational player? Motion? Do you know what Monken does too? There's no third wide receiver up there. There's only two. They got a fullback. He simplified it for him too, and he's a better passer. Get this. It takes time for Jalen to get better. Well, wait a minute here. This guy's only had what? 27 games? Hurts has had 50 games. And now he's had how many now? 8? That would mean that Jalen this year would have to, 8. That means Jalen would have to be an MVP at the end of the year for him to develop in the passing game. Is that right? Okay. All right, Steve. I got a feeling that guy in Baltimore is going to continue to improve. I got a feeling. Okay? Hey, get this. I love how you downplay their wide receiver room. Well, let's take a look at that. Tyler Wallace, Rashad Bateman, Zay Flowers, Nelson Aguilar. Gee. Oh, he caught a touchdown last night. Interesting. Wasn't that guy in Philly? Johnson had 1 catch for 6 yards. Justin Hill. And by the way, Mark Andrews is a tight end. What are you suggesting? I mean, what are you suggesting? That Baltimore has a great wide receiver room? Seals, to be fair, Moore might get similar results with Hurts in year 2. Okay? The problem is that Moore might not be here. So Hurts will have to start over again. Dude, Jalen Hurts is going to get a coordinator next year because Moore's going to get an opportunity to be a head football coach. Here, I'm not even on we're going to get to the game, I promise. Here are the top 11 candidates for 2025 head coaching positions in the National Football League. And I'll give it to you by ranking, according to coaches and general managers that will be looking for head coaches. Ben Johnson, offensive coach for the Detroit Lions. He's already publicly came out today and say he's going to be very particular in the type of quarterback and organization that he's going to. Cliff Kingsbury, OC, Washington. If you don't think that guy's going to get another opportunity, you're absolutely high on what he's doing with Jaden Daniels. Adam Stavanovich, offensive coordinator, Green Bay. What he's doing up there with Jordan Love and what he's doing with Matt LaFleur. Kellen Moore, number 4, OC, Philadelphia Eagles. What he's doing with Hurts and improving him since the bye. Drew Petzing, OC, Arizona. You notice what's going on with the new offensive coordinator in Arizona with Kyler Murray? Kyler Murray's playing great football. Bobby Slowick, offensive coordinator. Now, he's kind of diminished a little bit because the lack of not having Mixon and also Nico Collins there has kind of exposed a little bit of C.J. Stroud. He's kind of walked back, but he's still a candidate. Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, Brian Flores, defensive coordinator, Minnesota Vikings, Todd Monken, Baltimore Ravens, and Joe Barry, OC, Buffalo Bills. Those are going to be your top 11 candidates to probably fill 11 jobs when Black Monday comes, when they make the firings. And obviously, New Orleans and the Jets are already looking for a coach. Lamar was asked last night why the offense looks so smooth and better than last. Lamar answered, was 2 years with Todd helped him. Oh, my God. There it is, folks. Thank you, Ramir. Right there, Lamar Jackson's words. 2 years with Todd. That was my point, senor. That's my point. By the way, this is not opinion. You just use your eyes. Lamar's buying time on pass plays with raw athleticism. He is so spectacular. Not superb pocket awareness. Yep. Yep. I'll tell you what he does do, though. He moves in that pocket exceptionally with great grace. I mean, he's got great feet, and you're right. He kind of he still has a little bit of the take off and run. There was clear gap. There was a clear gap in quarterback mastery last night, Burrow versus Jackson. Oh, yeah. Burrow has that pocket down. When he's humming like that, those guys are just so elite in how they throw the ball. By the way, that has to go with also Zach Taylor, who's been with Burrow the whole time. I mean, Zach Taylor's a really good play caller. I mean, that guy is not going to be without a job. If he gets fired in Cincinnati and they don't make it to the postseason and they wobble towards the finish line and somebody fires him, that guy is a great play caller. Now, he's a pocket play caller. Like, would I put Zach Taylor with Jalen? Absolutely not. What would he know? How could he go from one extreme like that to the other? Okay. Now there you go, senor. I'll buy that. I think Baltimore's defense has issues for sure. And what the Eagle defense did that's a completely different conversation. And what the Eagle defense did to Joe Burrow, absolutely true. In Cincinnati. Completely different than what we were talking about, though. But that's fair. And that's why I said that win over Cincy now was elevated by me. That's a good win. It's no longer a shitty win. That's a good win. I mean, it's not because of what and how close that game was last night. It's because of what you did to Burrow. That's a completely different ball conversation than what we're having about the development of the quarterback position. Is our defense elite? Elite means you've done it for periods of time and you've won significant games. So no. Not yet. Hang in there. Okay? Hang in there. The only thing that diminishes that Cincy win was T. Higgins wasn't on the field. Dude, the Cincy win's a good win now because of the way the defense played against Burrow. Okay? They held him in check, and they held Lamar Chase in check. Lamar Chase was insane last night. And if you're Baltimore, you got to look at yourselves on defense and go, okay, Patrick Queen, the losing of the defensive backfield coach, Jannard Wilson, that secondary is clearly not the same. Okay? Clearly not the same. I don't think did Hamilton play last night? Okay. I mean, did the kid Hamilton play last night? Hamilton got hurt. Can't miss him. Okay. Can't miss him. Baltimore's football team, are they as good as a year ago? Offensively, yes. As a unit, I'm not sure. Hey, I'll tell you this. Now, do you want to have a different conversation about that Baltimore team that you're going to be facing in a couple weeks? Are my expectations now closer that the Eagles can beat them? Yeah. Yeah. We were having a conversation on quarterback development, not on what team was better. Missed the point. My point was if Hurts had someone like Monken for 2 years, 3 years, would Jalen be as developed as what we're seeing with Lamar? I think he would be. Instead, you're getting micro steps. That guy's taking leaps up there. That's what we're saying. Okay? Lamar won that game last night with no running game. because the defense took him away. That's Monken's development. Okay? That's Todd Monken's development. No, Steve, Jalen never beat. Quarterbacks don't beat other quarterbacks. You beat teams' defenses. There's no such thing. What do you think? This is a pickup basketball game? You play defense on both sides on offense? It's a rugby game? Last night, Joe Burrow's team came up short versus Lamar Jackson's team. But to sit there and try to say that he outplayed him dude, Joe Burrow, if you really want to go for it and talk about pocket presence and throwing the ball, he was better. But Lamar throwing to lesser players and getting it done, making right decisions, no turnovers for a dual threat guy was fucking insane. I mean, Sills, we also didn't have such a good running game versus the Bengals. We beat them by 3. I get it. Let's see here. Somebody with some decent comments, please. A quarterback can outplay another quarterback, though head-to-head in the same game stats. That's so ridiculous. My God almighty. Really? You're playing against Chris, how in the freaking world do you tie that in if wait a minute here. Do you really look at it like this and go like this? Jalen Hurts is going to have a better game than Cooper Rush because why? Jalen's going to have more statistics than him? Or is the fact that Cooper Rush is probably going to have shittier stats because the defense is better than what the Cowboy defense is? How in the world do you tie that in? That's not true. How in the world do you do this? You're playing against quarterbacks play against defenses, don't they? They don't play against offensive players. What are you talking about? How in the world are you tying that in? Okay? I mean, completely insane here. I mean, it's insane. I thought you guys did run the ball good against. I hear you, Dan, but New England, Miami game with Marino and Bledsoe felt head-to-head. I get it, Ronald. I get what you're saying. Look, 2 great quarterbacks are going to be playing against one another's teams. Quarterback always gets the credit. Marino playing against Bledsoe or Marino playing against Elway. You know, I get that. I mean, but you play against defenses. You know that, right, Ronald? The quarterbacks just get all the credit for it. By the way, once again, we'll go back to what we said here. You want to feel better about yourself? I think your defense showed me a lot more now. And by the way, here, let me get to this. Tyler, I'll get to you here. I feel better about your defense today watching that game last night against Cincinnati than I did yesterday. I do. I feel better about the development of Vic Fangio, and I'm not buying fool's gold as much with your defense because of last night. Do you not come away with that game last night saying this, Sills, you want to give Burrow credit? No problem. You want to talk about Lamar's development? Great. But tell this to us. You got to feel pretty good about your defense on what they did to Joe Burrow a couple weeks ago. Can't lie. You're right. You're right. First thing out of my mind last night when that game came to an end was that Eagle team on defense might be ahead where people think they are because they shut Chase and that guy down. Now, I give you the Higgins thing. I give you that. But that defense is coming along quicker than I thought. And what did Vic say by week 12? Your football defensive team might be a top 10 team. I'm getting closer to that because of last night's game. Okay? I am. I had two takeaways. Okay? Two takeaways. When we get the edge and better safety play, it's a wrap. Hey, Jarrell, did you not take that away last night from that Bengal game? Hey, we shut that team down. And they pretty much had the same unit out there. Okay? I mean, I want to see it. Washington, short work week. Okay? Right? I did. Let me see where you're at over here. I got you, Jarrell. Hey, I like Jarrell, man. Jarrell's good people, man. Jarrell's good people. 283 coverage snaps and 0 touchdowns allowed through 9 weeks with Q. Devontae, I feel way better about your defense today. There's no question about it. Okay? Sometimes quarterbacks have good games and even good halves. To get a real giddy over Lamar's passing night is fine. His passing night? You mean his passing year? Okay? You mean his year? I wasn't giddy. I'm giddy over the fact. Do you really think that I'm looking at that game between those two guys last night and looking at the players and saying that those guys are great because they played in one football game? I saw Blake Bortles throw for 400 yards once. I never walked away going, Blake Bortles is going to be a legendary player. Where did you get that, Bobby? Joe Burrow's on a historic run this year. He's going to have 44 touchdown passes. And the other kid's on a historic run too. Where did you get that from? Are high-scoring games just trash defensive game plans or elite quarter? It's maybe a bit both. Okay. I think the Eagles were more dominant at the point of attack in that Bengal game, and I thought they ran them off the field. Versus the Bengals, so scores as many as the Ravens. Just our defense keeps us afloat. Your defense is playing really great football right now. That game really gave me a lot of hope that they're where I'm not sure where they were. That game gave me more confidence that they're who they are. Do you not get that? I'm feeling like that's who they are. Sills, where would you slide Gruden in a list of potential head coaching hires? I think the Saints are going to hire him. I don't believe that Lurie would do it, but Gruden and Hurts might be special. It would be, but I think he's going to get that job because Mickey Loomis and the Benson family really like John Gruden. He was a consultant 2 years ago there. By the way, I'll make a point to you. Either Todd Monken and Vic Fangio are going to win the defensive and offensive assistant coaches of the year. I'm trying to think of someone else. Maybe that kid Johnson, what he's doing up there with golf. Monken, Vic. I'm trying to think of another defensive coach that's putting a good defense together. Maybe Brian Flores. The defensive coordinator in Pittsburgh looks pretty good. I'm talking assistants. Be something in there. Sills, does this mean we're going to New Orleans in February? No. Let's see how this thing plays out here. Sills, why the F are you talking about coaching when the organization has its own philosophy? Okay. Well, here, I would say this to you. If you're not Jeffrey Lurie and you're not watching that guy get developed when it has continuity at as an OC, you might want to think about helping your quarterback look like that guy in Baltimore. That's my point. Sills, looks like Mitchell so far is working out for us. How's the kid in Detroit doing? You got no help. Dallas with turnovers. Sean, he's doing well. I mean, they're 7-1. Okay? I mean, he's starting. They're 7-1. Let me get you let's get to Dallas. Zander's going to join us at the bottom of the hour. I want to close this comment up. It's not a rip. The point I was making is look at what they're doing with that guy in Baltimore with continuity and coaching. I think, and someone asked earlier, hey, Sills, do you think Hurts would be more developed in Baltimore? Hey, let me finish it up with this. Do you think Jalen Hurts would be more developed with the talent in Philly or the coaching in Baltimore? This is a simple answer, actually, because quarterbacks in the league are showing you it. Would you take the talent in Philly on his development or the coaching in Baltimore with John Harbaugh and Todd Monken? The coaching. That's the right answer. It's not the talent. How many times did you see Jimmy Garoppolo once he left the coaching in San Francisco? It's the coaching. It's the coaching. It's not adding players. It's the coaching. That is the what? Hey, Jarrell, that's the one thing, though, that the Eagles front office refuses to get and understand. How he thinks he's developing Jalen. He's not. Jalen is getting better because of Jalen Hurts. But they're smaller steps. They're micro steps. If they left the fucking kid alone, he might look like that. There's a part of me inside that thinks he's got better skill set in the arm than what Lamar has. But that's not being accentuated enough because of the shitty coaching. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that Kellen's not a good coach. But Monken has free reign with him. Hey, Jarrell says that Jalen's determined. Hey, you could be determined all you got. If you got a bad general in the building and he's leading you to almost winning your battles, and you got a guy up there making your battles easier, the least amount of resistance, Jarrell, gives me the best formula for success, doesn't it? Right? Sills, in Philly, they believe that organizations beats coaching. And that's why you have all these coordinators. Okay? I got you, Jarrell. Right? Get this. I'm sorry, man. I just don't think Jalen is that dude. No way he has better arm skills. I just think he's really a good football player and could definitely win games in this league. Manny, I don't look at Lamar Jackson and go, that guy is an exceptional pocket passer. I think he's just gotten better coaching and he's getting better at his awareness on getting him. Hey, look, one thing in Baltimore that they're doing too, they fear that run game. Dude, I'll tell you what, Lamar he strikes fear in you along with Henry. They didn't need it last night. They didn't think Lamar Jackson could win that game in the air, and he is now. That's scary. That's why it's exceptional. Jalen Hunt will have a big second half of the season. Vic sees something in him. I trust Vic evaluating talent for our defense. Seems to be a good thing, especially at edge and linebacker. Okay? Exactly here. This is a great take. We saw this exact same thing with Wentz. They try and change these guys' skill sets instead of just developing the game for them. Absolutely, Devin. Absolutely true. No getting around it. Get this. Hurts is better than Burrow. He's more mobile. I'm over here at work listening to music and sales. Flexing, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. All right. Let's before we get Zander on here. Cowboys and Eagles. Guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button, please. All super chats go to the top. You guys have been great. I like the debate. Give me some scores. Give me some scores. 30-14. Howie doesn't see it. Teams like Baltimore and Washington got OCs that fit the quarterback. Philly got an OC that doesn't fit. The quarterback doesn't look like those guys, and yet has the same skill set of those guys. I know. Don't tell that to people like Andreas, that Cliff Kingsbury was the right fit at OC for here, and that Monken's the right fit up there, and Kellen's doing the best he can to improve the passing game, which he's barely. Well, the guys are in and out. The guy in Baltimore has barely any players. The guy in Kansas City has no players. The guy in Buffalo has no players. They're all developing. And that's what, here's the last thing I'll say on it. And when you lose players, you become beholden to the roster and not the quarterback's development. It exposes, hey, Bob, let's finish this up here, Bob. Hence, you know why this conversation is important about development of the quarterback? Because you become beholden to the roster, that when players are not in it, your quarterback has developed slower and can't do the things those other guys can do. When those guys miss Andrews or they miss a receiver or what have you, or someone gets traded, there's no drop in the quarterback's play because they've been developed. You're not developing A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. You're supposed to be developing the quarterback. I mean, you're beholden to the roster, not the quarterback's skill. That's why when a player misses or leaves, Jalen doesn't look the same. That's never going to be the same in Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. Why? Because they're developing those guys. I mean, common sense. Common sense. Bob, you got what I'm saying, right? Right? If Nick checks his ego or recklessness, 28-10 Birds. Thank you, Michael. Okay, thank you, Michael. Sills, watching raw ability being shaped into reliable skills is special. And it is with the right coach. Jalen's raw ability can be shaped as well if they allow it. Absolutely. If they allow it. Look at this here, man. So wait a minute here. I'm going to start charging. I'm going to send this. I'm now being requested for shout outs for people in Connecticut. Jim and Debbie. I'm being requested by people for now shout outs. That'll cost you, Colford. Believe me, that'll cost you. Okay? Hey, and I was better than Tony. How you doing? All right. Hit the like button. Absolutely here. Let's see here. Sills, if we continue to play balance, the Eagles win 31-13. Okay? Sills, how about a shout out to Jalen Hurts? Sure. Hey, Jalen, get that ankle better. Hey. How about getting that ankle better? Come on, Jalen, get that ankle better. Okay? Wait a minute. Guy lives off protection and pray guys are out like AJ. We're the only NFL team with top 5 offense and defense. I have no idea what you're talking about, dude. No idea what you're talking about. Okay? Okay, let's see here. First, Sills makes fun on the rest day. No, the ankle. Okay. Yeah, makes fun of the rest day? Because it's not a rest day. He's got an injury. Thanks, Nick. It's not a rest day. I don't believe anything that organization says, and nor should you. Why would you believe it? Oh, no. It's a rest. Yeah, no. I mean, yeah. Hey, a senior believes, oh, it's rest. Because you know why? It's like half the country right now. It's not true. It can't be true. Really? They did it. It's your fault, Sills. It's fake. Because Nick is so genius of a coach that was a ploy by the coach. I mean, he is such a strategist. Hey, how about that Jags game? What a strategist that Nick Sirianni is. Yeah. All those hey, get this. Nick Sirianni is successful at some of those play calls he's had this year as I am at picking games. He and I are in the same boat. I mean, how you doing, Nick? What a strategist. Hey, listen, if I was going to win a national championship or a Super Bowl, Nick is going to be the guy that's going to lay out a game plan. How you doing? Nick gets the dubs that don't matter. Win a Super Bowl, dickhead. Hey, we beat the Jags. We beat the Giants. What about the playoff game against the Buccaneers? That doesn't matter. We beat the Jags. Did you not see that win over the Jags? It was a gut-wrenching win. Holy shit. You want to get great analysis? I heard somebody who used to be on this network go, that was a character win over the Jags? A character win over a shitty Jaguar team. You might want to have a character win over a good football team. That was a character win. I'm like this. Holy shit. Really? A character win. Hurts needs a head coach that calls plays. That's correct. That's why you hire Monken as your head football guy. Okay? Hey, Sills, I know you don't comment on the Raps, but what do you think about the 2 calls? Dude, the refs fucking sucked last night. The officiating in the National Football League, man, is just not very good last night. Chester, honest to God, man, I think these players are getting so fast and so good that just like in the NBA, I don't know, and I don't think they know how to legislate some of these penalties. And by the way, I don't like the way they do it when it comes to the dual threat quarterbacks. Cam Newton took a beating, and they looked at Cam because he was a runner. They never defended him the same way, or Vic, that they defended Manning and Brady. I don't think they know how to legislate penalties. I just don't. Okay? I don't. I mean, even the replay people. Okay, here, let me get, before I get Zander on here. I have never seen a Dallas Cowboy roster just go this south, this fast. They were a team that won 3 years in a row, 12 football games. I can't believe it, how bad they are. Where's the offensive firepower? Where's the Cowboy advantage in this game? Head coaching, I guess. Is Vic Fangio doing more than what the Cowboys? Yeah. Mike Zimmer's a Super Bowl winning defensive-minded coach. He was there with Switzer. But Vic's having a better year with guys I didn't think he could move and move along. The Cowboy defense is brutal. I've never seen it this poor. They can't run the ball. Here's the two things that I don't get with Dallas. They can't run the ball and they can't defend a run. I mean, if you can't do those two things since 1920, you can't win football games in this league. Now, here's the thing. How much is this game going to affect the Washington game? Now, you don't like to look ahead, but what is it? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And you're traveling on Wednesday. So here's the thing. The Eagles are going to really have 2 days of preparation for Washington. Actually, Washington comes down. They come down, so they don't have to travel. How much will the Cowboy game take out of them? You're hoping nothing. What's your opinion on McCarthy as a whole? I think he's had a great coaching career. Winning record, Super Bowl winner. He's coached Favre and Dak and Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got a winning record in the postseason, I think, or it might be 500. I mean, Mike Tomlin's got a record under 500. Did you know that? Do you know that Mike McCarthy has a better postseason record than Mike Tomlin? Did you know that? Mike Tomlin hasn't won a playoff game in a decade. Put that into context. Mike Tomlin has not won. You think Mike Tomlin would still be the head football coach in Philadelphia if he hadn't won a playoff game in 10 years? Mike Tomlin has not won a playoff game in 10 years. Put that out there. I mean, and I love Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin would not be the head coach in Philly if he hadn't won in a decade. Here's my score. 38-10 Eagles. I don't see it. I mean, I think even with the shittiest coaching and Nick Sirianni as a doorstopper, where's Dallas? Cooper Rush, a backup. This has all the earmarks of a trap game. It really does. It's on the road. It's in Arlington. Backup quarterback. I mean, I hate saying 38-10, and I hate doing this. Well, this game here is a walkthrough because I did the same stupid shit of last week, and that was supposed to be that as well. But I just don't see it. I mean, where's the firepower? I know they're getting Micah back. All right. Where did you see those QBs last night? Man, that's how you play the position. That was a display last night. Unbelievable, man. You want to know how to play the quarterback position? You take out, and they're right there, my friends. That's how you play the position. Hit the like button. All that being said,